In 6 right now on the WHAS 1119 breaking news. Meade County residents win big again. A second vote late tonight defeating a huge data center proposed for farmland. And then severe storms and continuing extreme weather. LG&E says it's time to shore up our power grid and you are going to pay. And then all new tonight in Louisville. Senator Mitch McConnell is honored and talks about the ceasefire in the Middle East.
Particularly after seeing his involvement in Gaza, which is clearly a positive development.
Plus, he says you can count the number of people on one hand who will end the government shutdown. And then her final days.
Everything that I did, everything that I did with her was
with love.
Yeah, exactly.
Her first interview since a fatal diagnosis. Kentucky Derby legend jockey Diane Crump broke barriers and made history 55 years ago in the 1970 Kentucky Derby. Right now on the WHAS 1119. Breaking news tonight as we come on the air. The story from Meade County. A huge victory for residents again there tonight. The second and final vote happening tonight on a proposed data center for 135 acres of farmland. The Meade County Fiscal Court denying the zoning change. They started their meeting at 7 o'clock tonight after the huge meeting that happened on this morning. Earlier, the Meade County Planning and Zoning Commission also voted to deny the zoning change. But that was just a recommendation. So the final vote then moved to the Fiscal Court tonight, which also drew giant crowds tonight, and they voted no as well. Here's what was said earlier today.
We already have an industrial zone. We already have an industrial area set. It's already causing constraint and issues for people who want to go and hike and walk at Buttermilk Falls. It's humming. It's loud. They're annoying. It's not set up.
Now, both of these meetings were packed and streamed live by the Meade County Community Engagement Facebook page, which also reported that the Meade County Parks and Recreation Department, in this photo right here, put a TV outside tonight so that people who couldn't get inside could watch the vote as it happened. Again, a victory for residents in Meade County this evening. Well, hello, everybody, and thank you for joining us. It's been a very busy Tuesday night. I'm Doug Proffitt. Severe storms, extreme weather, and your utility bill. They don't mix well, and tonight LG&E says it needs more money from you to protect our electric grid. The Kentucky Public Service Commission is traveling around the state right now, listening to customers about the possible new rates. Focus reporter Travis Breeze continues his coverage, reporting tonight from Lexington.
Louisville was 11 inches over its average snowfall this past winter. Then in April, we had record flooding in places like Utica, Indiana. And just recently, Kentuckiana farmers have been dealing with a drought.
The weather impact is definitely real, and it impacts our system.
LG&E and KU are asking you to pay to protect the grid from continued extreme weather.
Sign in there.
The Public Service Commission heard people's concerns on that rate hike before they vote in early 2026.
This is a substantial revenue boost that is being shouldered mainly by the residential customers.
Here's how it would break down for you. LG&E customers will see, on average, an $11 monthly increase for electric and another $11 for natural gas. For KU electric customers, it's $18 a month. That worried Lois Spears from Moorhead.
We could probably pay $18 a month extra right now, but that comes at the cost of what can we provide for our son? What can we provide in his extracurricular activities? What can we provide in savings for our household?
In a separate case before the PSC, the utilities are asking for permission to burn more natural gas and more coal. Dr. Gabriel Filippelli, an earth sciences professor at IU Bloomington, says burning more fossil fuels can lead to an increase in severe weather.
We know what causes that, and that's the accumulation of these greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. And we know it's going to persist, right? Because we haven't stopped doing this quickly.
I asked LG&E and KU spokesperson Daniel Lowry if he thinks more reliance on fossil fuels will mean more money to protect the grid. By that logic, you're worsening the problem. That's what I'm getting at.
Right. We have a lot of measures in place to make sure that we mitigate that climate change impact.
Before asking families like mine to pay more, Kentucky Utilities should demonstrate a stronger commitment to reducing costs.
There's a lot on these customers' minds. By law, the Public Service Commission has to approve rates that allow the utilities to provide adequate service.
Everything costs more.
In Lexington, Travis Breeze, WHAS 11 on your side.
By the way, the public input meeting for Louisville has already happened. But if you want to submit your comments online, we've got that information all spelled out for you on our website, WHAS11.com right now. The Public Service Commission will have the official hearing in Frankfort for this case starting Monday, November 3rd. Tensions are rising in the ceasefire agreement. We have a new update for you here at 11 o'clock as Israel says Hamas is violating the new agreement, accusing the group of holding back the remains of the hostages. 4 more bodies were returned today, and there are still 2 Americans whose remains have not yet been returned. President Donald Trump warned Hamas to disarm or face force as fighting continues despite the truce. In Gaza, some freed prisoners claim that they were abused in Israeli detention as families of hostages urged the United States to press Hamas to honor this deal. Well, we pick up right now on that big story with brand new comments from Mitch McConnell in Louisville tonight. The retiring U.S. Senator was honored by the Kentucky Chamber of Commerce tonight in downtown Louisville. McConnell says 5 people will end up solving the government shutdown in the end. And he called President Trump's involvement in the ceasefire a positive, but wants to see the same support for Ukraine. WHAS 11 Night Team's Alex Dederer and photojournalist Aspen Hester covered the major headlines from Mitch McConnell.
I want to give the president a shout out for his involvement in Gaza solution, hopefully.
In a downtown Louisville Marriott ballroom full of some of Kentucky's most prominent business leaders, Senator Mitch McConnell touts the president's ceasefire, a leader he has had a publicly contentious relationship with. While the Kentucky senator is hopeful for an end to the war in Gaza, he's pushing for the same resolutions in Ukraine.
I can guarantee you Ronald Reagan would roll over in his grave if he knew that we were reluctant to give the Ukrainians what they need to shoot Russians.
McConnell was honored by the Kentucky Chamber for his legacy as the longest-serving Senate leader in history. The celebration came as the federal government enters its 2nd week of shutdown.
We've been through a few of those over the years. In the end, 5 people will solve the problem. The 4 leaders in Congress and the president.
This will be McConnell's 8th government shutdown since becoming senator in 1985.
Looking at the current situation, I'm kind of glad John Thune's doing it.
Yeah. McConnell is anti-tariff. He disagrees with the tariff war the president implemented in February.
I don't think the tariff war makes any sense. If you're wondering who pays for it, you do. All of us, and I hope it ends pretty quickly. So we're in a tariff war with our allies and not doing enough to be ready for our potential enemies.
With nearly 2 years left as senator, McConnell said he remains steadfast in his commitment to Kentucky. In Louisville, Alex Dederer, the WHAS 11 Night Team on your side.
Remember, the primary election for the U.S. Senate seat is coming up in May, and the election to replace Mitch McConnell is going to be held next November. His last day in office will come in January of 2027.
I don't care who was the governor at the time or what, like ultimately, in the end, it was the state of Kentucky that let us down.
The judicial system, the whole judicial system let us down.
One-on-one with WHAS 11 News. Nearly 10 years after 6-year-old Logan Tipton was killed in his own bedroom, his family telling us the pain has never left, still waking up at 3 in the morning, the same time as the fatal attack. Now that Logan's killer has been rearrested in the state of Florida, those memories are back. Ron Exantis, who admitted to stabbing Logan, was let out early under Kentucky law and taken into custody again in Florida, where he had moved for failing to register as a felon.
Like every little sound I heard for over a week, my stomach would drop. So yeah, he might be in jail right now, but for how long? And then we get to go through that all over again.
The Tiptons talking to our Ian Hardwitt in a lengthy interview from Versailles, Kentucky, saying they're reliving their trauma as they wait to see what happens next with Ron Exantis. All new tonight, we're putting a spotlight on a Kentucky Derby legend who was told she has less than 6 months to live. Diane Crump made history 55 years ago as the first woman to compete in the Run for the Roses, the 96 Kentucky Derby that was held in 1970. Tonight, she is talking with WHAS11 night team's Jose Alonso in her first interview since the fatal diagnosis. Jose?
Doug, at 77 years old, Diane Crump says it's hard to believe she's been diagnosed with an aggressive brain cancer, but she wanted to speak to Kentuckians and Derby fans one last time with her daughter before she passes, sharing a message of love, following your dreams, and appreciation for the decades of support.
Really young. It's what I loved. I mean, I loved that I could start everything anew. Everything that I did, there was such. Everything that I did with it was
just with love.
Yeah, exactly.
Silent Screen has taken over the lead now.
It was the 96 Kentucky Derby in 1970. Diane Crump was aboard Fathom, where she shattered the glass ceiling by competing as the first female jockey. Fathom didn't win, and last year she spoke with the Kentucky Derby Museum about it in their Right to Ride exhibit.
There were plenty of women that were working on the backside that were holding their own with anybody that was there. So that I found a little odd, that there would be that much dissension about it.
Recently, Crump and her family faced a harsh reality when she was diagnosed with glioblastoma, an aggressive brain cancer. Her daughter, Della Payne, says she only finds comfort knowing it's painless.
If we underwent chemotherapy and radiation, there would be a lot of discomfort.
Right.
And that's not what she...
Yeah, I mean, it's just not me. It's not me.
That's not her way. She wanted to be home with her dogs, which are really important to her.
Those beloved dogs, her children and grandchildren, will focus on spending time with Crump in the projected last 6 months of her life.
She told me in the hospital earlier on that she just thought there'd be always a lot more time. And I guess
That's for sure.
We all thought that. And she did tell a doctor once when he was chatting with her, she said, I just love my life. And that's hard because she just loved everything she did.
Famous jockey Donna Barton Brothers, who's currently the NBC sports reporter you see interview Derby winners, calls Crump a true pioneer alongside her own mom, Patty Barton, another female jockey in 1969. In a statement, she says, quote, every one of them I talked to, my mother and Diane Crump included, was able to bear the weight of the burden because they just loved to ride and they wanted to be able to compete and experience the thrill of riding a thoroughbred at top speed.
She's a worker, but she has never done it for the money. And it's just very nice to see that that was okay because in the end, people will take care of her the way she took care of people around her.
And what a time for her. What a wild time to be in the Kentucky Derby. I mean, this was the countdown to the 100th. Yep. It was 3 years before Secretariat would win, and there was so much buzz about this race. So she spent a lot of time here. I know she had to have happier times here. What was her message for Louisville and the rest of the state of Kentucky?
Yeah, practically, Doug, the message she had was that through everything with love and passion, that's what it was, that she got to live her life with love and passion. And from her racing days to her equine business as well, she's just grateful about everyone reciprocating that back now. She was so surprised that everyone's reaching out, sending her cards as well. She's just very thankful for that.
We remember our Derby legends.
Exactly.
All right, thank you very much, Jose. In Louisville, the city is remembering a longtime advocate tonight for justice and equality, Manfred Reed Sr., who served more than 2 decades on the Louisville Metro Housing Authority Board, has died at the age of 89. Reed was best known for his lifelong commitment to fair and affordable housing and his role as one of the famous Black Six, falsely charged after the 1968 Parkland neighborhood uprising. They were acquitted in 1970, and in 2022, then Mayor Greg Fisher formally apologized to them. The historical marker at Metro Hall now honors their legacy and the fight for a more equitable Louisville. New at 11 on the night team, the community members gathering in downtown Louisville today to honor the murdered George Floyd on his birthday. Hear how one group is turning remembrance now into action.
Some strong storms are possible as we head into our Saturday night and into Sunday morning. I'm going to have the details about that forecast here shortly, but here's a look at those Kentucky Lottery jackpot numbers. The Mega Millions, 600 million. The Powerball, 273 million.
The Kentucky Lottery, funding education for over 1 million Kentucky students.